Well, we are at card 7. Yeah. The 7th card in our first path, the path of the birth of consciousness or self-growth. And before I get on with the Chariot, I kind of wanted to just talk about the Lovers a little bit and its relationship to the Chariot. So the Lovers is a really hard card. When I even say that, I can just feel it in my gut. And my perspective around it is that, of course, we equate lovers with love and the birth of love. But we were already, consciousness was love. Okay, so love has been with us the whole time. And when we get to the Lovers card, I do think that there's a moment of when we're able to put the mirror up and recognize something in ourselves that creates a sense of clarity and basically integrates our halves. And maybe that something inside ourselves is seen in another person, and that's why the Lovers is, the two coming into one is Lovers, is being elevated by this emotion or this feeling of love, because there's been clarity through seeing the mirror clearly and it fitting, and what might have been fragmented is becoming even more whole, because this is a whole process of wholeness. So these are all sort of just steps, and some people call them archetypes, and they are, but it doesn't resonate with me as much as it's sort of pathways or just places in the labyrinth, It's a labyrinth to me. It's, even though I've set the cards up in these rows, it's not quite as simple as that. And I think that the Lovers is a perfect moment when we can be integrated and then be able to have this whole other level of will come in. And I'm going to apologize. I'm not going to really apologize. Hell of apologizing. I'm going to just state I'm in this great practice of not preparing myself. So I'm really trying to just allow information to come through me. So this is what the rambling means, right? What kind of storytelling is not preparing? But we're going to just trust. I'm going to kind of trust today with this one. I do have my paper of notes, but I'm going to try not to even look at it, because really, who cares? It's all there. It's all in here somewhere. So I'm going to, again, show you 2 cards. These 2 cards have been really my favorite in this whole process. I had a couple other decks I was going to use, and none of them resonated with me in these stories at all. Like, I felt like these cards for me represent the evolution of tarot right now. So the Chariot, number 7 of the Trump cards, and actually the Chariot actually means it's triumph, and that's what Trump actually means. So it's a very important card in taking us away on this journey. So before the Chariot came the Lovers, in the sense of like unifying for clarity, and then all of a sudden this whole next level of will and desire comes in us. So the Magician sort of brings will to the table, but the Chariot kind of earns the willpower. And the Chariot all of a sudden becomes the vehicle for the willpower to want to go on and explore and go on to the next level. And what is the next level? Well, it's more seeking a fuller sense of self, right? We've done this this sevenfold, or including the Fool, the eightfold path of getting into the self. And now we want to go to the next eightfold path of getting into the self. And so the Fool comes into play here is actually very important. Right around the in-between state of between here and Strength, which is the gateway card into the next session. So the Chariot brings us where we need to go. When you look at Kim Kranz's Chariot, it's a horse, beautiful horse, who has integrated the power of earth, the magic of the moon, and the light of the sun, and is on its way. It is just on its way. So nothing is going to stop the horse. And when you look at even just the history of horse and horse medicine and what horse has done for humankind, it has brought them to their goals. It has brought them in exploration and has brought them places. It has allowed them to go from a thought to an actual place by getting on the horse and allowing the horse to carry them or its weight there. So it's an important creature, and I like the use of this symbol in this card. And so the Chariot, takes us to carry on what we've already learned and makes us stay really focused. And also, like with purpose. There's purpose in here. And the Nomad Tarot, I love this. I mean, maybe because I live in the Pacific Northwest and I have witnessed this journey of the salmon. And I get emotional even thinking about it. It's happening right now. So the salmon are born somewhere in the creek or the streams around here, the rivers, and they travel out into the sea. I'm sure most of you know the process. They go all the way up to Alaska, wherever they go, and live their life, and they learn about themselves. They take this amazing journey. And when they know it's time, they travel all the way back to the place that they were born, like literally within feet of the place that they were born. And they don't know, but they know they have somewhere to go. They know that they have completed a sense of their journey. And they go right back to where they began. And they have so much perseverance and strength. And in some ways you think of them swimming upstream, but they go underneath the current. So the current is heading out above them, and they catch this sort of pocket underneath the current. It's still not easy. They're not being carried, but they understand the water in a way where it becomes their chariot. The water is the chariot here, in my opinion, and it brings them exactly where they need to go. They lay their eggs and they die to create a whole new cycle. And there's a lot of the Fool that's needed in this, because the salmon do not know necessarily what's happening. They just know. They have now reached a state of self-knowing to this point where they know that they have to, they have a job that they have to do. They are seeking something. They are seeking something so much that they are willing to die when they find it, because it's there. So it's so beautiful. And so when I think of the Chariot in the terms of the story of the salmon spawning, I get it on such a deep level. Like when I can look at a lot of cards and I get the Chariot, I mean, I get it. I get it in its basic sense. But when I'm able to find a card that helps me relate to something in my life, something I've seen and experienced, like this, it's magnificent, where all of a sudden it opens up, and then all of the tributaries, right, all the different places that these salmon can swim and all the different tributaries of where your intuition kind of can open doors and come out with these stories in service to people and to yourself is just amazing. And that's why I try to stay away from the books. We're going to go a little bit beyond the Chariot right now and talk for a second about something I don't want to forget that just popped into my head about, we're talking about knowing which card. There's been a couple people that came to me and said, my cards aren't right for me, the cards aren't working, I need different cards, I'm interested in other cards, they're not working past that. That is so amazing that you understand that and know that and are seeking the cards that are right for you. And one of the reasons why these two cards are very important to me, and actually another deck that I don't necessarily use for readings, but I use as a guidance, the Gaian Tarot by my friend Joanna, is that I have relationships with these artists that made these cards. Jennifer, who made the Nomad Tarot, lives a few blocks away from me. And we're not besties or anything, but I learned her story. Even if I didn't know her personally, I've learned her story. I've learned where she's come from. And I've talked to her about her process. And with Kim, the same thing. I've never met Kim, but we've had many conversations. I've interviewed her. I've gotten to know her through just, social media and just witnessing her, going onto her website and reading about her. So you don't need to know them personally, but I think for me, one of the ways that I connect with a card is understanding who created the card and getting a glimpse of them somehow and getting pieces of them somehow, because they're in here and there's an amazing connection. These are humans behind these actual cards, and my friend Joanna's cards as well. I know her personally and she's one of my teachers, and to just see these cards and know the stories, she's told me the stories behind them, it's amazing. And reach out to artists. If you see a card deck that you like, reach out to them. You don't need to take too much up of their time if they're busy. Most likely they love talking about their work and their process. That's what we're here for, right? It's to share it. So just on that journey of finding those cards that allow you to open up all the gateways to your stories and unknowing and knowing, that's just something I wanted to speak to. But anyway, the Chariot. So I'll have some written stuff around the Chariot along with this video, because I didn't say too much about it except for my salmon story. But again, practicing not preparing and allowing. Thank you. Beautiful day. And I'm also, not done. I'm so excited for this next session to start. The cards in the next session, the initiation period. It's going to be amazing. Yeah. Really excited. So, Chariot, keep the Fool near you. Keep the Fool near you with Chariot. Because sometimes that clarity that the Lovers brings is not, it's not named. And you need the Fool to just say, like, I'm clear about something I have to do and I'm going there. And I am bringing myself there in triumph because I've made it. I've made it to somewhere. Here, wherever the fuck that is. And you're gonna also need to use the Fool to enter into strength. The first card, next one. So, okay. Am I done? Yes, I'm officially done.